what the black man and woman needs to know about the nation, about the world, about themselves. Muhammad Speaks It. To order your 12-issue subscription to Muhammad Speaks newspaper, 313-371-7033. 313-371-7033. Kareem Bean Pie is the grand champion of all bean pies. The rich flavor and smooth texture takes this pie to a whole new level of delicious. One bite and you'll understand why people all over the country call daily to order Kareem Bean Pie. 313-371-7033. That's 313-371-7033. Kareem Bean Pie.
This bean pie is delicious.
Muhammad Speaks presents Messenger Elijah Muhammad's Teachings by Minister Khalil Shabazz every Sunday from 2 to 3 p.m. at Muhammad's Temple of Islam, 12609 East McNichols Road in Detroit.
Brothers and sisters, rise for prayer. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent and Merciful, all praise is due to Allah, the Lord of the worlds, the Beneficent and Merciful. So, Master's Day of Judgment in which we now live, the alone that we serve and the alone seek for thine help and aid. O Allah, please guide us on the right path of those upon whom thou hast thy favors, not on the path of those upon whom thy wrath is brought down, nor those who go astray after they heard thy teachings. Say he, Allah is one God. Allah is he of whom nothing is independent, but upon whom we all depend. He begetteth not, nor is he begotten, there is none like him. And I bear witness that none is to be served, worship, or praised besides Allah, who came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad. And I bear witness that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is that true servant and last apostle. Ameen. We like to acknowledge the brothers and sisters that extended us the greetings of Assalamu alaikum. We have Brother Stephen Cowan of Washington State. We have Brother Naeem Ali of Pennsylvania. We have Brother Abdul Muhammad Rashid of Florida. And we have Brother Captain Hakeem and the believers in Richmond. I'd like to say in the name of Allah, who came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, and in the name of his last and greatest messenger, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, I'd like to greet the brothers and sisters with the Nation of Islam's greeting words of peace of Assalamu alaikum. Today we like to talk about Islam is the revolution. We have in this picture, we got Eldridge Cleaver and we got Bus Stop Bishop. Bus Stop Bishop them this week went to Oakland, California. This was the post that they gave because they were sneak dissing the messenger. IUIC talks about the messenger every week, whether they talk about him direct or they sneak diss the messenger. So in Oakland, they was marching up and down the street. So this is one of the posts that they said. They said the revolution did not end with the Black Panthers. It evolved and continued with the army of the living God. Now, if you don't know the history of the Black Panther Party, you wouldn't even know that this is a sneak diss of the messenger. Because Eldridge Cleaver, since they use Eldridge Cleaver, because they got another video where they posted Eldridge Cleaver talking. And this one was posted IUIC Mount Vernon. It says the revolution will be televised. So they use Eldridge Cleaver. So we gonna use Eldridge Cleaver to show you how they sneak this in the message. Because if you look at Eldridge Cleaver and many of the Black Panthers' memoirs or their autobiographies, Eldridge Cleaver said the black Muslims saved the Black Panthers. This is what he said in his book called Soul on Fire. Because he has another book called Soul on Ice. But in his book called Soul on Fire, he talked about how the black Muslims saved the Panthers. All praise is due to Allah. Now, I got to give a disclaimer with Eldridge Cleaver. I don't like Eldridge Cleaver. Eldridge Cleaver did a complete 360. This brother started out in the Nation of Islam in prison. Then when Malcolm X flipped the script, he flipped the script. So he became a Black Panther. Then he was doing as the Messenger used to warn the Panthers. He used to call it talking the big talk. I remember the first, because the Messenger had that old grandfather way of saying what he was saying. He would say, you out there talking the big talk. He say, but when the devil come, you can't back up the big talk. So Eldridge Cleaver was talking the big talk. They had a shootout with the police. So Eldridge Cleaver, the white man, put the heat on him. So he went into exile. Then he came back in 1975 as a born-again Christian. This was Eldridge Cleaver. So Eldridge Cleaver also used to sneak diss the message. But we can still bear witness to the truth that he taught. Because the one thing that I respect about many of the Panthers, they gave the Messenger credit. They didn't just say, we just come up with something on our own like Bus Stop do. They gave the Messenger credit. So this was the post that I saw IUIC post that I said I can't let them get away with this. Because I was going to talk about something else this week. I wanted to talk about, I forget what it was, but it was something different that I wanted to talk about. Oh yeah, it was talking about the Sabbath day. I wanted to talk about what the Messenger taught us about the Sabbath day. But me being me, I'm on IUIC page all the time. So I saw this particular post by IUIC Atlanta. They say bringing back the hope that was lost. That's number one. Then they called themselves the prophets. Now the Messenger taught us that he is the last and greatest messenger of Allah. Yes. So if they call themselves the prophets, they attacking the message. Because they can't be prophets and him be a messenger at the same time. So it says the prophets marched through Oakland and showed them a unity they never witnessed. Talking against the message. So let's get into Eldridge Cleaver. In his book called Soul on Fire, this is the chapter called 3,285 Days Equals Prison. Eldridge Cleaver says, he says, what kept me going in the early days of that 9-year stretch was the solidarity and brotherhood of the black Muslims. My initial contact came through the prison hospital, where I had access to a mimeograph machine. During the early 60s, Elijah Muhammad gained substantial nationwide following. Many of his followers pursued their religious loyalty after they were in prison, and the movement really boomed at Folsom and San Quentin. This was the message. Yes, all praise is due to Allah. He said the thing that kept him going while he was in San Quentin and in Folsom prison was the solidarity and brotherhood of the Muslims. Because what we got to remember about Bus Stop Bishop now, during this time, they wasn't out in the street trying to teach the black man. Nobody cared about the black man but the messenger. We always got to remember that. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad is the one who taught us a Muslim is a Muslim only when he loves for his brother what he loves for himself.
Right.
He is the one who taught us that there are 17 million black people in America. That represents the black nation.
Yes.
Every black man and woman in the black nation is our brother.
Yes.
So that means the black man that's in the street in the mud and the black man in prison. So let's go on with Eldridge Cleaver. He said one strategy for Elijah Muhammad was to take out paid advertisements in the Los Angeles Herald-Dispatch, setting forth his principles and editorializing on the oppressive white devils. His column was clipped and passed along to me, and I would cut and stencil for a newsletter widely circulated behind bars. While the column was banned inside, it never failed to circulate a day after it appeared in the Herald. Good points.
Yes.
He said the thing that kept him going while he was in prison was the solidarity and the brotherhood of the Muslims. He said that the Messenger wrote his article in the Herald, the Herald-Dispatch. He said the Herald-Dispatch was banned. But that didn't stop the Messenger's article from circulating through the prison the next day. We gotta remember, that is a very important fact.
Yes.
Because we got to go to the Messenger's Messenger magazine that came out in 1959. He has a section in here, or a page, that says the power of the press. It says the pen is mightier than the sword. This was the messenger. The messenger of God. In the article, it says the time have come for all intelligent Negro leaders to recognize the power of the press, to realize that the pen is mightier than the sword. So you see Malcolm X holding up all the newspapers that the Messenger was writing his articles in. Mind you, Bus Stop Bishop and them ain't had nothing to teach the black man.
Right.
They wasn't coming out on the street talking about the Bible was written by Israelites for Israelites. They wasn't telling the black man Jesus is black. They wasn't telling them to stop eating hog. They didn't even accept the New Testament. But the messenger, he said it's time for all intelligent black leaders to recognize the power of the press. Because it's the press that shapes your ideas. It's the press that make you think what's good and what's bad.
Right.
It's the press. So it's high time for the black man to recognize the power of the pen. So Malcolm X is holding up in the center the Herald-Dispatch. Because the Messenger didn't have brothers in the prison selling papers. But he understood the power of the pen. If he write it in the article, it's going to get to the black man. Some way, somehow. So the Messenger understanding the power of the pen. Write his article in the Herald-Dispatch. Brothers get it. Brothers make sure it's circulated. So now the Messenger is changing the black man's ideas.
Yes.
He says that heaven is not a special place. He said heaven and hell is a condition of life.
Right. So many of them brothers in prison changing their mind because their mind is changed. Now this hell of a condition ain't so much hell now. Now you got solidarity and brotherhood in the prison. That's the message.
Yes, sir.
So let's go on even further with Eldridge Cleaver. He said, while I never felt comfortable with Elijah Muhammad's heaviest doctrine, the antagonism and hatred of the white devils. That's an important fact to remember too. Because the one thing that Bus Stop Bishop and them do, whenever you see a black leader praising the Panthers and conveniently ignoring the messenger, they hate the messenger. Because when you look at the Panthers, it wasn't nothing black about the Panthers but the Black Panther. How do we know that? The messenger talked about the power of the pen. All we have to do is ask Bus Stop Bishop, take a Black Panther newspaper, take the messenger's newspaper. Since you keep saying that Islam is garbage, you say the Quran is toilet paper, but you praise the Panthers. So what we want to ask Bus Stop to do, since the messenger taught us the power of the pen, let's take a Black Panther newspaper and compare it with the newspaper of the messenger, just to see how black each group was. This comes from the Black Panther newspaper. I don't see the date, but this was when Huey P. Newton was in prison. It says the issue is the political prisoners of America. Not the racism of the white man against the black man, but the issue is the political prisoners. A white man can be a political prisoner. What is a political prisoner? Political prisoner means you in prison because of something political. Not because the white man is the devil, not because the white man is our enemy, but you're a political prisoner. He said, and people as one to stand for the release of all political prisoners. Not the black man, but all political prisoners. It says Huey P. Newton, Minister of Defense, Black Panther Party, political prisoner. Now let's go to another Panther paper. This one says capitalism plus racism breeds fascism. What's fascism? This was the language of the Panthers. It wasn't nothing black about them, but most black people who hate the messenger praise the Panthers. Talk about how revolutionary they was. Talk about how they fought for the black man. But the messenger wasn't nothing. Islam is garbage. The Holy Quran is toilet paper. We worship a rock in Mecca, but the Panthers. Black people don't use the language of fascism. Black people don't talk about political prisoners. Black people don't talk about Marxism. They don't talk about Lenin. They don't talk about imperialism. They don't talk about socialism. That's what the Panthers talked about. Because the Panthers took the teachings of the messenger and added to their political stuff.
Right.
Just like how Bus Stop Bishop taking what the messenger taught, adding it to Judaism. That's how everybody did. They like the militant stuff. They like talking tough to the white man, but they don't like the religion. But when you take a Muhammad Speaks newspaper, the messenger said a united front of black America. This would Bus Stop stealing. He ain't talking about fascism. He talking about a united front of black America. Let's go on even further than that. The messenger saying a nation within a nation. This the language bus stop use. Bus stops say they are organized nation. This what the messenger taught. Let's go even further than that. This says how to eat to live. How to eat to live a long life. What the messenger taught. The Panthers wasn't talking about how to eat to live. The Panthers wasn't talking about we a nation within a nation. They was talking about all political prisoners. Let's go on even further than that. The messenger. The black man and his rise. Panthers wasn't talking about that. Leading further than that. The messenger. The emblem of the two great religions and what they mean. This was what the messenger was talking about. Yes. So how can Bus Stop Bishop be for real and say Islam is garbage? The Holy Quran is toilet paper. We worship a rock in Mecca, but you see something special about some Panthers. He don't see nothing special about the Panthers. He don't love the black man. He just hate the messenger. Yes. Because there is no way that you see good in the Panthers, but you don't see no good in the messenger. So let's go on with Eldridge Cleaver. He says, while I never felt comfortable with Elijah's heaviest doctrine, the antagonism and hatred of the white devils, I did feel that it was effective in building solidarity and black awareness. The more I typed, the more I liked what I read. Elijah was building self-esteem into the lives of the lowest blacks. To those locked up, he gave dignity, belonging, and a cause. And we finally became the most singular, powerful group in the California prisons. This was the messenger. The man who they mud wash. The man who they don't even in the prisons. The messenger ain't in the prison. He don't got a minister in the prison. But he understand the power of the pen. So he just write his articles in black newspapers. The black man get it. It started changing his mind. He started loving for his brother what he loved for himself. Yes. He started to unite with his brother. Then in prison, Muslims become the single powerful unit in California prisons. Not just in San Quentin and in Folsom, but in the whole state of California. Let's go on even further than that. He said the Muslim message also took dead aim at a host of other evils that were destroying the family. Elijah stated that the drug running, the pills, the grass, the heroin shooting, as well as the Sunday night drinking brawls had to stop. It was another way, he said, that the white devils were keeping us under their control, burning us out on the stuff and sticking us in prison when it got too absurd. Either way, the blacks were losers, and these became absolute doctrines. No more running, taking, or promoting drugs. This in the prison. Yes. We ain't talking about on the street. This brother talking about when he spent 9 years in the joint. Talking about how brothers reading the messenger's article. Listening to how the messengers say, that's how the white man keeping you down, brother. Them drugs you use. So cut out all the drugs. Learn how to eat to live. Love for your brother what you love for yourself. That was the messenger of God. Yes, sir. Let's go on even further than that. Eldridge Cleaver says, The Black Panthers benefited from the Muslims' teachings. It would later become dogma for us as well, and probably saved us from total destruction. This the message. So how can niggas like Bus Stop not like the messenger, but you like the Panthers? This is how they do to hate on the message. Because they don't like the Panthers either. They just want the messenger spot. Bus Stop Bishop don't love the black man. He hates the black man. He just loved the shine he saw the messenger get. So he thinks that if I don't say nothing about the messenger and I hype up the Panthers, I'll look to the black man like I'm some kind of revolutionary.
Teach, brother minister.
But the thing about it, the messenger said, he said, history is best qualified to reward our research. He said, I will be the winner whether I'm living or dead.
He did. Yes, sir.
Why is that? Because the truth is the truth. We cannot say nothing about the messenger. We can take his teachings and add it to our garbage. But when we take the messenger and compare him to Bus Stop Bishop, we'll see that Bus Stop Bishop is just the top turd on a pile of doo-doo. That's all that nigga is. That's why he don't want to say nothing about the messenger. He don't want you to know he's just another turd. Because when you keep piling turds on top of turds, he'll eventually become the bottom turd. Just in 2024, he the top turd. Been many turds that done took the teachings of the messenger and added it to some garbage. But let's go on with Brother Eldridge. He says the Black Panthers benefited from the Muslims' teaching. It will later become dogma for us as well, and probably saved us from total destruction. He says, from all the charges the cops piled upon us, that was one that never stuck, because we were absolutely out of it. We ultimately got to the point where in many urban ghetto neighborhoods, we shoved the drug syndicate clear out of the community. The hoods were looking straight down our gun barrels when they trucked that material into our towns. We said, show up once more with that stuff and you are zero. This was the teachings of the messenger. Because I was listening to Muhammad Ali yesterday. I found another historical site that has some of Muhammad Ali's interviews that he was being interviewed during the time of the message. He said something that made so much sense. He said, our black brothers today, he said, we don't criticize them. He said, they not following Muhammad all the way. He said, you got black women wearing afros, dashikis, but then she got a mini skirt on. She talking about she won't land. She talking about love black. But she not following the messenger all the way. He said the messenger told them, don't criticize them. Because he said, the messenger said it's just like a baby. When a baby tried to talk, the baby hear you talk. He want to talk like you, but he a baby. So at first he started talking, but he ain't saying it quite like how you saying. But he see you talk, and he want to talk like you. That was the messenger. It was many black people who loved the messenger. But for whatever reason, they didn't have the strength to just go all the way with it. Yeah. I understand. Because it ain't so easy to follow the message. Because they say doing right ain't always easy. It ain't always easy to say the right thing. Because a lot of times when you say the right thing, people hate you.
Yeah.
That's what make it hard. It's not hard to say what's right. But when you say what's right, then the people close to you start hating. Your family members start looking at you different. Your friends don't want to be around you. That's the part that's hard.
Right.
So will you continue to say what's right? After all of that pushback, that's the hard part. So the messenger had many black people who loved him. That's why he told us, my best followers are yet in the street.
Yes.
Because he understand that there was plenty black brothers in the street that loved Islam.
Yes.
But they might not be strong enough to fully accept. So he said, my best followers are yet in the street. So Eldridge Cleaver goes on even further. He said Elijah was building self-esteem into the lives of the lowest blacks. To those locked up, wrong part. He said the drug-free life for many prisoners began inside of the slum, and it was a powerful witness to the Muslim faith. He talking about, because we don't have time to read everything that he said, but it was real eye-opening when he talked about how it was for Muslims in prison. One thing he said that I love, he was talking about when he started siding with Malcolm. He said he had a big picture of the messenger hanging up in his cell. Big picture, he said he put a big pretty frame on. But he said when he started siding with Malcolm, he took the picture of the messenger down and destroyed it. So he said the best way to make enemies with a Muslim is to speak against Elijah Muhammad. He said the quickest way. He said if the messenger said something in the Hadith to live, and you start talking about what scientists say this and this and that, he said that's how you make a Muslim your enemy. He said because once Elijah Muhammad said it, it's law.
Yes.
So he said it was brothers who he knew since he was in the prison, real close to him, cut him loose, wouldn't talk to him, wouldn't socialize with him, wouldn't even look at his face. That's what he said.
Praise be to Allah.
That's what he said. And I was like, all praise is due to Allah.
That's right.
That's Islam. But this hypocrite Louis Eugene, we always got to get on him.
Yes.
He the one who changed all that. The hypocrite.
Yeah.
So now you got Muslims who can be around bus stop while he mud washing the message. And you, oh, my black brother, oh, this my brother. But what Eldridge said, the quickest way to make enemies with a Muslim, not a hypocrite, but a Muslim, is to speak against Elijah Muhammad.
Yes.
Now let's go on even further. This is another part of his book. It's called Panthers and Power. It says terminology. It says the employment of the terminology pig was already endorsed by the Muslim theology. Its circulation in the Negro community had wide acceptance. Elijah Muhammad would often say that a pig was 1/3 cat, 1/3 dog, and 1/3 rat. He taught the orthodox position concerning pork. And this did create problems within the ghetto. For pork was a lot cheaper than beefsteak. Many brothers had a light meal in prison when pork sausage or pork chops were served. He says the Black Panthers absorbed much of the black Muslim vocabulary, particularly the idea of the beast, which Elijah Muhammad identified from the book of Revelations as Babylon America. Where was Bus Stop now?
Right.
Because Bus Stop and them talking about all the Panthers, all they the revolutionaries, all we the extension from them. This brother said the black Muslim vocabulary absorbed, the Black Panthers absorbed much of the black Muslim vocabulary, particularly the idea of the beast, which Elijah Muhammad identified from the book of Revelations as Babylon, America. These names were used to describe the cruelty and animality of white devil America. They became essential to my own word list. And when Lee Lockwood interviewed me in Algiers, there was one sequence which illustrated my point. So he admitted, Elijah Muhammad, because I read another place where he said that when he started siding with Malcolm, he said instead of saying imperialist or instead of saying white devil, he said imperialist. So he would just change what the messenger said and use his own word. But he's still talking about what the messenger talked about. Bus stop ain't gonna say that. That's why he don't mention the messenger. He don't want black people to know that black Jews and Jews all over the world rejected Jesus in the 50s and 60s. They rejected the New Testament. When the messenger was teaching that, Eldridge ain't say, but yeah, you had the Black Panther or the black Hebrew Israelites teaching the same. He said it's what Elijah Muhammad taught. Right. Elijah Muhammad was writing it in the paper. We had reading it from what he taught. So let's go on even further than that. This is another picture in his book showing him with a brother named Bunchy Carter. Who is Bunchy Carter? It says Eldridge Cleaver, wearing dark glasses, with apprentice Bunchy Carter, founder of Los Angeles branch of the Black Panther Party. Carter was killed in Los Angeles in January of 1969. This was Bunchy Carter's funeral. And when you look at the flowers that Bunchy Carter had at his funerals, one of them is shaped like the Star and Crest. Because Bunchy Carter too, while he was in prison, became a Muslim. But he was one of them ones that didn't follow the messenger all the way. But he still loved Islam. Because one thing that we know, especially in today's world, he definitely had to tell his family that he loved Islam. Because we seen Muslims who, when they die, they Christian family bury them as Christians. Yeah. Brother that lived his whole life as a Muslim, but his Christian family will bury him as a Christian. So when we see Bunchy Carter's funeral, and he got the Star and Crescent, he had to make sure to let it, I want to die as a Muslim. Even though he was a Panther. He still loved the messenger.
Yes, sir.
Let's go on even further than that. Because we got so much that we can say.
Yes.
But it's one thing in particular that Bus Stop said that rubs me the wrong way. This what he gonna say in this Facebook post. Give me a sec. In this Facebook post, he said the revolution did not end with the Black Panthers. It evolved and continued with the army of the living God. Not because he don't compare them fakes marching up and down the street with purple dresses on. Since they don't compare themselves to the messenger, you can't see he ain't got no arm. He just a top turd on a pile of doo-doo. But what we gonna do? Since the messenger say I'll be the winner whether I'm living or dead, he told us that history is best qualified to reward our research. We gonna compare the messenger's Muhammad's army to Bus Stop Bishop's army. Let you decide. Who had the army? Was it Bus Stop Bishop or the Messenger? Let's start with one of my favorite little young brothers. This one of them ones I read that made me cry first time I read. Some of these brothers' passion and love, we don't experience too much seeing Muslims with this much love for the Messenger that these brothers had. I'm talking about young brothers married, going all the way for the Messenger. All the way in the face of death for the Messenger. We're going to talk about this little young brother whose name was Charles X. Stevens. It comes from the March 29th, 1974, Muhammad Speaks. It says, Muslims' death brings community together. Now, when I first saw this brother picture in the paper, I skipped past this. I thought it was just some accidental death or something. Because the brother looked so young. He looked like a junior FOI to me. So when I would see this article, I would just skip by. But just like anything, you become so intrigued with the Messenger and the Muslims, you start reading everything you see.
Yes.
So then I came back to this article. And I was like, why I've been skipping this one all this time? I'm talking about made me cry. Like, wow. Let's read about Brother Charles X. Stevens. It says Charles' grandfather earlier had recalled a conversation that night before the incident in which his grandson had a premonition of his death. It says, according to his grandfather, William Webb, Charles said, I'm a black Muslim. I'm living under my faith, under the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and Almighty God Allah. He is going to tell the truth to black and white. If they kill me, they may kill me. They may kill the body, but they can't kill the soul. The truth will stand. I want to be with the Muslims. This was a young brother. I believe he was only a Muslim for a year. He wasn't a Muslim that long. But he loved the Messenger. We in the Nation of Islam wasn't like Bus Stop Bishop. How for over 30 years he been teaching and he ain't never been attacked by the police. So when they talking about their army, they talking about they believe in a mystery God. They're a mystery army with a mystery in it. And they win mystery victories with this mystery death. But when Muslims used to say, I'm in Muhammad's army, just like Muhammad is real, the devil is real.
That's right.
Just like the devil lives, the devil dies. Just like we live, we die. So this brother say, look, this devil might kill, but I'm a Muslim. The truth will stand.
Yes, sir.
So it don't make a difference what they do to me. The messenger gonna tell the truth to black and white.
Yes.
They might kill. They can kill the body, but they can't kill the soul. I want to be with the Muslims. So let's talk about what his family said about him. This comes from the February 21st, 1974, Tampa Tribune. This is wife talk. She said, I tried to talk him out of it. But one night he came home and he shaved off his mustache and cut his hair close the way Muslims wear theirs, she said. He stopped smoking and drinking and he wouldn't eat any more pork, all of which are forbidden to members of the Muslim faith. He changed, she said. Miss Birch agreed. He loved to dance, but he wouldn't anymore. He told me women should wear long dresses instead of miniskirts, and that I didn't need makeup, that my black beauty was enough. I thought he'd stay in for a few months and get out, but he stuck with it. he found something he believed in. He found something after all the hassle he'd gone through. He joined because he was disappointed in people in Tampa, his brother said. But being a Muslim caused him trouble. Wasn't so easy back then. His family said being a Muslim wasn't so easy.
Right.
Like Bus Stop Bishop now. You can just march up and down the street talking about how you a army, then you go home. You do that in Oakland. You do that in Detroit. You do it in Chicago. You all out in the street with microphones. But you don't never get harassed. In 30 years, this brother was a Muslim less than a year. His family said becoming a Muslim was a hassle. It says being a Muslim caused him trouble. He was learning to become a welder, but he got hassled because of his religion. Finally, he got tired of them giving him a hard time, and he quit, Preston Stevens said. He complained to me that the cops hassled him for selling his papers, and just for being a Muslim. He said he'd be walking home, and they'd stop him on the street. And sometimes they'd take him down to the station. They knew him by the Muslim attire, and because they're about the only blacks, especially young blacks, that don't wear an afro hairstyle. So this was Brother Stevens being harassed. Didn't stop him. Because Bus Stop Bishop and them say this truth can't be stopped. How hard is it for you to say that when ain't nobody trying to stop you? It'd be different if the police was killing them and they say this truth can't be stopped. But it got a different ring to it when Brother Stevens say this truth can't be stopped.
Right.
I don't care what they do. They can kill me. They can keep harassing me. But I want to be a Muslim.
Yes, sir.
Let's go on with Brother Steve. Because we about to get to the good part. What did Brother Stephen do? This comes from the Tampa Tribune, November 30th, 1974. It says Black Muslim shootout trial postponed. Because this was one thing about a real army too. Once you fight the devil, it ain't over with. Sometimes you get put in the hospital. Sometimes you get paralyzed. Sometimes you gotta go to jail. Sometimes you get killed. It ain't the spooky stuff. Like Bus Stop Bishop. We armed. These brothers was a real army.
Yes.
It says Black Muslim shootout trial postponed. It says Saunders, which was the other Muslim with this brother, Saunders was charged in connection with a shooting on the Franklin Street Mall in which fellow Black Muslim Charles E. Stevens was shot and killed by police after he had shot Officer Jerry W. Carter with his own gun. All praise due to Allah. Why would Brother Stevens shoot him with his own gun? They didn't say Brother Stevens had a gun on him. Because we talking about Muhammad's army.
Right.
They didn't say Brother Stephen had a gun on him. They say other devils shot him after he took the devil's gun and shot the devil with his own gun.
Right.
Why would he do that? Now let's go to the message. Because we talking about a real life army.
Teach, Brother Medicine.
Messenger got, this is the October 18th, 1968, Muhammad speaks. It's called Killing a Muslim. This article right here, I read it all. After I read this article, it wasn't no other article I needed to read.
Yes, sir.
Here's the message. I could not believe what I was reading. Because I was interested because on the front page, it got a police officer killing a brother. Then the messenger, it says exclusive. Killing a Muslim. Now I want you to read what the messenger said to these brothers. Then think in your mind, what would they do to bus stop if they heard him say the Holy Quran is toilet paper? If he said that Islam is God, to these kind of brothers. Let's read what the messenger said. The messenger said, in Dallas, Texas last Friday, one of my followers was shot dead. He was one of the least ones because Allah had given to him the upper hand by allowing him to disarm the officer and take his weapon. This the message. Brothers wasn't just walking up and down the street in purple dresses talking about how hard and tough. We're armed. We God's living army, going from city to city. They really had to fight. Life or death. So this the message. He said because Allah had given to him the upper hand by allowing him to disarm the officer and take his weapon, or according to the reports given to me. Being born in fear of the slave master and his children, I heard that he turned heels, which he should not have done. My heart started beating. Even though I wasn't an FOID, I started getting nervous. Messenger been gone. I'm reading this in the comfort of my own home, but you know how you start telling you, my heart started pumping. Is the messenger saying he should have took the devil's gun and shot the devil with his gun? Is that what he's saying? So I'm like. So then the messenger goes on. He said this shows that he was more afraid of the enemy who was dealing death to him than he was of Allah who has power over the enemy. This the message. Yes. All therefore I reading this and getting instruction because this what the messenger telling them.
Yes.
Ain't no marching up and down the street in dresses. No. You might really have to fight one of these days. So the messenger goes on. He says the Holy Quran forbids Muslims to turn on their heels on the enemy. Once again. So what you think them brothers would have did to bus stop if they heard him say the Quran is toilet paper? When the messenger telling these brothers to fight armed devils because the Holy Quran forbids Muslims to turn heels on an enemy. For it teaches us if we run from death, death will overtake us one day anyway. And if we die for a good cause, it is better than to die a coward.
Yes.
So he ain't even guaranteeing you that you gonna live. He just telling you, don't turn on your heels. Because the Holy Quran forbids Muslims to turn on your heels. And if you die, it's better to die brave than to die a coward. So the messenger goes on. He says, so in this case, the brother was shot down after having weapons in his hand to try to defend himself. But we do not take officers' weapons from them so long as they are not trying to kill us. He just said it so. We'll let you have your weapon. We don't try to take it from this devil if this devil ain't trying to kill us. But when this devil tries, we'll take his weapon from him. And if Allah bless us, then we bless him.
That's right.
That was the message. So the messenger goes on. He says, we are not to be the aggressor. But if an aggressor attacks us, we are to fight in the name of Allah to defend ourselves. This is a universal law. Fight with those who fight with you, but never be the aggressor. But if we run from the enemy, Allah will not grant us any help against them. But I warn the enemy, this yet does not let you out. It is Allah's will who came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, saying his name. So what you think brothers would do? Now, this brother Stevens, listen to what the messengers, because this came out in 1968. Brother Stevens fought the devil in 74. So he was listening to the message. He heard what the messenger said about Allah.
Yes.
Master Farad Muhammad.
Yes.
So what would they do if they saw this nigga bus stop with a picture of Master Farad Muhammad making a mock? I'm just asking you questions and you figure it out in your mind.
Yes, sir.
So they go on to say, it says, it is Allah's will who came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, to whom praise is due forever, to take revenge on you who are living here today for the killing of the prophets and the righteous even before this day. And he got in parentheses the Bible. He says, you know that we are not armed with anything but mercy of Allah, God, in the person of Master. See how he naming our God.
Yes.
Our God ain't a spook. But Stop Bishop say, they fighting in the army of the living God. Show us your God. Show us this living God you fighting for. Show us when you called on his name and for the armed devil and you won. This our God, who came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad.
Yes, sir.
So the messenger goes on. You know that we are not armed with anything but the mercy of Allah in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, to whom praises are due forever. But this defense is sufficient. It is up to you to continue to kill Muslims and suffer the consequence. So wasn't nothing spooky about what the messenger said. He said if the devil want to, he can continue to kill Muslims. But the brothers will continue to fight.
Yes.
We will continue to disarm.
Yes.
Because Allah is sufficient.
That's right.
Whatever Allah will is good enough for us. That's why Brother Stephen said. He said they might kill. I don't know. They can kill the body, but they can't kill the soul. I'm with the messenger. I want to be with the Muslims. So the messenger goes on. He said, but with us, we should not be cowards and turn heels. If one Muslim stands up and fights an enemy, Allah God will defend him against thousands. Muslims, you must not turn heels. This the message. So that's why you see Brother Stevens. It said the devil was shot with his own gun. Now, I didn't have time to bring the article to show you what this it was only 2 Muslims. They was fighting them devils all up and down the street to where a security guard in one of the department stores came out to try to help. You had devils running just for 2 Muslims. But let's go on even further than that. Let's go to another one of my favorites. It's called Muslims Acquitted. This happened in 1974. We don't have time to read. This is another good one. That if you want to learn about Muhammad's army, go to the September 13th, 1974, Muhammad Speaks. It's called Muslims Acquitted in Atlanta. You can also read it, because I don't want you to think it's just the Muslims talking. You could also read it in the Atlanta Voice, August 24th, 1974. It says, Muslims not guilty in confrontation. This is the one I want to read. Because this is what happens with real armies. You fight the devil, then the devil come back. The reality of being in Muhammad's army. You fought the devil and won, then the devil come back. Ain't nothing spooky. Bust out Bishop them in a spooky army with a spooky God. We got a real army with a real God. So in 1974, it says Muslims acquitted in Atlanta. Then if we go 2 years prior to 1972, this is the December 8th, 1972, Muhammad speaks. It says, power of Allah gave victory to Muhammad Speaks salesman in fight with Southern cops. What happened with this? In the article, it says, following the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's teachings to fight with those who fight with you, Muslim Brothers of Muhammad's Temple, number 15, mightily defeated themselves against a brutal armed police attack in the heart of downtown Atlanta. Now, what I want to stop with, by 1972, the Black Panthers was wiped out. The Black Panthers was talking the big talk. They decided to use arms. The devil overpowered them. And by 1972, Bunchy Carter was dead. Eldridge Cleaver was in exile. Huey was in prison. And Bobby Seale was running for mayor. The Panther Party was pretty much done. Muslims still fighting the police. They've been fighting the police since 1934, long before the Black Panthers. And they fighting the police after the Panthers. Because the Messenger had an article he wrote called "The Gun is the Might of This World." He said the white man's God is his gun.
Yes.
But our God is Allah. White man call on his God, we call on our God.
Yes.
And our God won every time. So how could you like the Panthers, but don't like the Muslims? These was unarmed brothers, fighting armed devils.
Yes.
But let's go on with that. It says the unarmed fruit of Islam were outnumbered by fully armed police officers by more than 2 to 1. Yet the Muslims received only slight scratches and 1 jammed thumb, while 3 police officers were sent to the hospital for treatment of head injuries and cuts abrasions.
Praise be to Allah.
That's why Bus Stop he don't want to say nothing about the message. He don't want the black man to see him as a turd. He just wants you to think he got an arm.
Yes.
He can't compare you to a real arm. So let's go on even further than that. The article says, it says they came on like wild dogs, said Brother Bobby X. There seemed to be so many of them, I couldn't even count them, said Brother Marshall 2X. Said an observer, it's just like the Honorable Elijah Muhammad says. The police came not as peacemakers, but as peace breakers. The Muslims under attack swung into action, crying out, Allahu Akbar. Once again, Bus Stop and them telling us Islam is God. What we say in the bus stop, show us your God.
Right.
Show us how you call out Allahu Akbar before a fight.
Yes.
Then the devil going to the hospital when you don't. They got the guns when you don't.
Right.
They outnumber you 2 to 1. Show us your God. This is the thing I try to ask all of them. Show us your God. The messenger showed us a picture of our God. Told us his name. Told us when he was born. Told us when he came. Told us when he left. Told us what he gonna do to the white man.
Right.
Told us to call on him. Told us to pray to him. So show us your God.
Right.
Let's go on even further. It says the Muslims under attack swung into action, crying Allahu Akbar. They fought fearlessly and boldly wreaked havoc on the attacking ranks of the police. They marching in ranks in dresses,
Yes, sir.
acting like they are. Muhammad Speaks say the FOI, unarmed FOI, outmatched 2 to 1. Step to the on to say, it says, everywhere you look, a Muslim and a policeman was fighting, said Lieutenant G.E. Harriman in Atlanta Constitution interview. So you can go read this in the Atlanta Constitution. But the white police said, everywhere you look, a Muslim was fighting the police. He says, Harriman said he grabbed one Muslim, but saw another choking an officer a little distance away. I turned to one I had loose, ran over and grabbed the officer's nightstick and got the man off, he said. By the time I got him off the officer, the one I had grabbed originally was gone. The observer said, I saw one brother throw a policeman so high that when he hit the ground, his gun flew out of his holster. You in trouble now? They say the brother grabbed an armed devil, threw him up in the air so high. When the devil hit the ground, his gun fall out the holster. What the messenger say? When Allah bless you,
Yes.
Allah bless you, now you bless him.
Yes.
That was the message.
Yes.
So now the gun, now it's free game now. Because we don't carry weapons.
Right.
But if you bring a weapon, we can take your weapon from you.
Right.
That was the message. So it goes on to say, it says Officer Jackson said that he became shook when he heard members of the 300-person crowd that had gathered calling, get the gun, get the gun. That's another thing I love about these articles. Them witnesses.
Right.
For the first time in your life, as a black man, you've been seeing these police kick niggas around for years. Now you see these unarmed Muslims giving havoc to the police. So instead of them running and pulling out their phone, they looking like, they go the gun, get the gun, get the gun. Ain't getting the brother home. They go the gun right there, get the gun. Get this stuff. That was the message. And it said the police officer was shook. Niggas wasn't running. Niggas watching. Niggas happy. Niggas excited. Niggas is in the uproar. Get the gun, get the gun. Then it goes on to say, he said that isn't a good feeling when you have both hands full, he said. During the turmoil, the police were so preoccupied with whipping Muslims that the black man who originally attacked Brother Clarence got away and remains unapprehended and unidentified. The Muslim brothers said that they put their protection in Allah's hand and that he proved to be a plentiful provider.
Praise be to Allah.
Let's go on even further. This one comes from the May 17, 1974, Muhammad Speaks. This brother in the wheelchair. Another example of a real arm. Sometimes you don't win like you think you will win. But this brother still did what the messenger said. So under the picture, it says, courageous brother Larry 3X. Another good one. This brother Larry and them brothers in San Francisco. The police say, because I read all the articles, the police say the brothers was cooperative. Because when you read all the articles and all the court case, the police was harassing the brothers not only from selling papers, but from also for selling white and H&G. So these brothers, even though they was being harassed, they was cooperative. The devil tell them, because the message say we never the aggressor.
Right.
We being harassed, we still cooperating, we still doing the right thing. So they say the brothers, as they was dealing with these devils, they saw another devil coming around creeping up on them, like he was trying to ambush them. Then the articles say the brothers filed out of the van, went to work. When you be reading these articles, it's like these brothers be hypnotized when they say Allahu Akbar. They just be going into fighting mode. Brothers just, it seemed like they be in a trance. Because they all fought the same. Brother Stevens, the brothers in Atlanta, brothers in San Francisco, brothers in New York, they be in a trance. When they say Allahu Akbar, even the other one in Atlanta, the one in 74, they say the police had shot and killed a brother. It said after he shot and killed the brother, other brothers swarmed on him. They didn't run. The police shot and killed this brother. Brothers see it. So they take their focus on him. Let's get this devil. So they overpowered the devil, took his weapon and blessed him. That was Muslims. So this was the courageous brother, Larry 3X Christ. Then we got another tearjerker. This was Brother William. Brother William was shot and paralyzed in 1962 in Los Angeles with Ronald T. Stokes. And the thing I hate about this story, they make Malcolm X and Ronald T. Stokes overshadow the whole case. They try to say that Malcolm was so upset because after Ronald T. Stokes was killed, the messenger didn't do nothing. And he was so upset he wanted to get the brothers and go back and fight the police, but the messenger was scared and all of that. But when you go look at the real history, after these brothers was attacked by the police, this brother was shot and he was paralyzed. Ronald T. Stokes was killed. Other brothers paralyzed. So for years, these brothers had to go to court for an attack that the devil put on the temple for no reason at all. So now in Muhammad's army, you paralyzed, and at the end, they still charge you with 5 years probation. So then, in 1965, the devils come and shoot the temple up again. You still paralyzed. You still coming to the temple. You still a part of this shooting too. This was a part of being Muhammad's army. Wasn't no spook. They really had to fight. So when you read this article, this is in the January 29th, 1965, Muhammad speaks. It's called Through Faith and Courage, I Thank You, Dear Holy Apostle. The messenger bought the brother an electric wheelchair. So the brother said it was easy for him to get around. So the brother put Muhammad Speaks newspaper on the back of his electric car, put his wheelchair on the side, and continued to sell papers. The brother in the article talked about how the messenger was sending him money, writing him letters, and saw to it that everything he needed, he got.
Praise be to Allah.
This the messenger.
Yes.
When you got a real army, you got casualties.
Yes.
Sometimes you have innocent brothers get hurt. But this is an example of why they love the messenger.
Yes.
He didn't just kick you to the curb. He did the same thing for Malcolm X when he was in prison. He didn't know Malcolm from Adam. He would send Malcolm money, write letters to me. He didn't even know him. All he knew was he was one of his followers' brothers. They told him, my brother's in prison. He didn't know Malcolm. He Malcolm Little. Malcolm write him, he write him back. Send him money. That was the message. Well, brothers and sisters, we don't want to prolong the time. So I leave you as I came in the nation of Islam, greeting words of peace of Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Enjoying the show? Help keep us on the air. 313-371-7033. That's 313-371-7033 to make a donation.
Brothers and sisters, we rise for prayer. In the name of Allah, the beneficent, the merciful, all praise is due to Allah, the Lord of the worlds, the beneficent, the merciful, soul master's day of judgment in which we now live.
The alone do we serve, and the alone seek for thine help and aid. O Allah, please guide us on the right path, path of those upon whom thou bestow thy favors, not on the path of those upon whom thy wrath is brought down, nor those who go astray after they heard thy teachings. Say he Allah is one God. Allah is he of whom nothing is independent, but upon whom we all depend. He begetteth not, nor is he begotten, there is none like him. And I bear witness that none deserve to be served, worship, or praise besides Allah, who came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad. And I bear witness that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, thy true servant and last apostle. Ameen. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us not to do anything to anyone that we wouldn't have done it to ourselves, and treat everybody right, even the devil. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum